Welcome back. Now, rain, humidity and high temperatures, sound familiar, are the perfect breeding ground for mould. With many parts of the country still damp from record rainfall, there's been a massive outbreak of fungi.
Lots of people are talking about this. Lurking in cupboards and on ceilings, mould is more than just an eyesore. It can make you seriously ill. For more, we're joined by mould expert Vince Neal from Mycotox. Great to see you, Vince. Now, people are talking about this at the moment, and mould can be there before you even see it.
Yes, especially in wall cavities and the fact that you've got mould, but you've also got bacteria.
Yeah.
Bacteria can develop in 2-3 hours after a water damage.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, are there ways of knowing that you've got mould even if you're not seeing it?
Yeah, odours. When you shut the house up, come back in and you go, oh, I don't like that. That's a pretty good indication that you've got a moisture problem, microbial problem.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
As I know all too well, it can trigger asthma symptoms, coughing, shortness of breath, can be really terrible for your health.
Memory's a big one. Lung inflammation, brain inflammation's a big one. People don't realise that you can have things like shrinking of the caudate from exposure.
Really?
You can have cortical grey matter. Going towards atrophy, which is very similar to alcoholic.
I had no idea.
Wow, really?
What can people do about it?
The main thing is to keep a house dry, clean and well ventilated.
Now, that sounds pretty simple, but honestly, how do you keep your house dry?
It really depends on what problems you've got. Like if you're built against a sandstone brick wall in Sydney around Point Piper...
You're going to be damp.
You're going to have problems. You won't get away from it. But you've got to install systems that will break that down. Because the children, like you find behavioural problems with kids where they've been throwing little tantrums, etc., and they're too young to tell you, look, there's a problem, I'm having a problem here. Remember that mould and bacteria produce chemicals. We call them VOCs. But they are chemicals. They cross the blood-brain barrier. So you'll get headaches, chronic fatigue. You'll find people in the workplace...
So dry, ventilated and...
Keep it clean.
Keep it clean.
And
there
a dehumidifier is a good idea. We're going to put all of Vince's tips and details for Mycotox on our website. Thanks so much,
Thanks, Vince.
Don't go anywhere. Weekend Sunrise is back in just a moment.
The state government is under fire over the appalling conditions in their public housing unit blocks. Families are being forced to live in apartments covered with mould and leaking sewage, and it's making them sick.
Mould creeping across the ceiling, so damp the light had to be disconnected, leaving a family of 5 to shower by torch for 3 years.
Well, this is simply a disgrace.
We can't identify the families in this block, but one father believes these spores are exacerbating his son's asthma. Upstairs, a mother says her son vomits and suffers nosebleeds.
There's no temperature, there's no other symptoms other than we've just had a shower.
Forking out $500 on charcoal pouches and dehumidifiers.
I just can't live like this and being sick all the time.
Living in a home with a heavy mould infestation is certainly dangerous to your health.
Outside, sewage spills onto the street. The Housing Department website says electrical hazards and sewer overflows should be addressed in 2 to 8 hours. These families have waited years for proper repairs. For mould, tenancy rights state the landlord is obliged to repair the problem. The landlord, the state government, left the department to answer questions today.
This matter will obviously come under review to see where the standard operating procedures have failed us.
After speaking with residents, Labor is now raising questions about whether enough money is being spent to maintain this unit block and what its future might hold.
Whether or not they will be here or if this is going to be part of the sale off from this government.
The government's already netted $750 million from the sale of the Sirius building at the Rocks and public housing at Millers Point. Ocean Views making the Coogee block a potentially lucrative target, but the department categorically rejects it's being neglected.
We are certainly not.
And state politics reporter Liz Daniels joins me from Macquarie Street. Liz, the department has acted to help these people after your inquiries.
That's right, Pete. After years of complaints from residents not being acted on, contractors and representatives from the Department of Housing today finally visited tenants to assess the mould, remove it and set in place some proper repairs. Tonight, Pete, we have an assurance this will be adequately addressed.
And we'll keep tabs on
Well, with the extreme wet weather has come the issue of mould. Isn't it annoying? And in the case of our next guest, the situation is so bad, doctors ordered them to leave their home immediately.
Yeah, Chrissy and Lee Butler join us now live from the Gold Coast to talk about this one. Chrissy, I mean, this is outrageous. Let's just talk about how bad the mould is inside your rental home.
Yeah, so we had some independent hygienists come and assess the property, and they determined 4 types of mould. They did 2 air samples and 1 carpet sample. The air sample showed at 150 times higher than the safest recommended level, and the carpet samples showed 5,000 times higher than the safest recommended level. Basically every room in the rental property we were leasing was showing mould through the carpets. So it's just spread and gone everywhere, especially with all of the rain that we've had this year.
I didn't even know there were levels, right? And so how does that translate into what can happen to you physically?
Yeah, so when they give us that report, they give you a list of potential health implications and a bit more further information about the strains that they found, and they listed that the mycotoxins in the mould strains that were found in the property can lead to respiratory issues, they can lead to neurological damage.
Wow.
Some have been linked to cancer. There's a lot, and the unfortunate thing is mould-related illnesses don't show up straight away. They can take time to show up.
To diagnose, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and doctors are not really the wiser for it either with that.
So, I mean, you've raised this. It's a rental property, so it's not your responsibility to get all of this fixed. What happened when you took these results to the property manager?
When we realised it was mould, we let the property manager know, and basically he just started sending us all of the current news articles that are about mould that are in the news right now, about how to maintain and clean mould. And we didn't agree with that because we don't feel that this is something that can be maintained, and we didn't cause this issue. We felt this was coming from the foundation, and that was proven correct in the building inspection that we had. So, yeah.
All right, so you vacated the property on the 17th of May, but you were still forced to pay rent despite the property's condition. How much have you lost here?
At the moment, we've tallied it up to about $12,000. That's just in building inspectors' reports, rent that we've paid, the mould reports, and that doesn't even include, you know, other little things. We haven't even added those up yet. And then we've just emptied our entire house, and we've had family and friends dump that because we can't take that. So we've lost everything pretty much except our clothes and some kitchen items.
You'd have insurance though, right?
Yeah, we have contents insurance, and we've paid diligently for, you know, about 10 years with this insurer. We have informed them, and on Monday they let us know that they wouldn't be compensating us with that. So we're still in further talks with them, hoping that they will come to the party.
What's the insurance name?
Yeah. I'm apprehensive of
We'd just like to keep that quiet for now until we sort out.
By the way, that's not a bad name for an insurance company. I'm apprehensive. Hey guys, where do you take it from here?
A few lovely friends of ours have set up a GoFundMe just in the hopes that we can try and recoup something. We're really wanting to get the message out because we've had so many people message us since we've shared our story, telling us their stories that they have been left homeless, they've lost their properties. But we don't know where to go from here. We've got a bit more of a battle to go, and so we're trying to face that at the moment.
All right, well, best of luck with it. Let us know how you go.
Yeah. Keep in touch, and if we can help further, let us know.
And also, if there's anyone else out there, do let us know as well, and we'll pursue it.
After living in their rental property for just 3 weeks, the Byron family discovered mould almost everywhere.
We've lost a lot of our belongings, and the smell in the house is vile.
They've now moved to a Noosa hotel room with their 2 young children.
Our eldest son, who's 2, had some respiratory issues and a pretty strong cough.
The vast majority of people who have problems with mould will feel a little bit like they're having an allergic reaction to something. So they'll have a runny nose, itchy eyes, a dry cough.
Mould is also appearing around Alex Leggett's Brisbane home after a week of heavy rain.
It's just been non-stop, mould everywhere basically, all over the couch, something I've never seen before.
And many other residents across Queensland are experiencing the same problem.
The best thing is to open up all the windows and doors and get the good old-fashioned fan up and working and get cross ventilation working that way to actually start drying out the building.
You can try and tackle the mould on your own, depending on just how widespread it is. Experts recommend solutions of vinegar mixed with water. You can also use methylated spirits or tea tree oil. Commercial products work well too. But Queensland Health says you should always wear personal protective gear like a mask and gloves when dealing with mould.
We are recommending that as soon as you see mould growth, you need to act as swiftly as possible. Try and clean those areas and keep your home dry.
The Byron family are unsure where they're going to be living and what items they have left, but they're trying to stay positive.
Our children are what are keeping us happy. You know, they're still smiling, which is amazing. And since not being in this property, our Lowe's cough has improved a lot.
Louisa Rebgetz, ABC News.
Starting a family contained all the usual joys and difficulties for Hannah Cousins and Darren McGuinness. But the couple didn't expect what happened while renting for 5 years in regional Victoria.
In the last year that we were in the house, we would have, I think the kids and Darren and I would have been sick for at least 6 to 7 months of that year.
It wasn't until Luella was taken to a new paediatrician the suspicion was raised that black mould in their rental home may be making them sick.
He basically said that she and all of us were most likely suffering from like a black mould poisoning toxicity.
When a builder was called in to fix a leaky bathroom, he was shocked by what he found.
The most black mould he'd ever seen in a house. That the cleaners that we got in to do the end of lease clean had found that there was black mould coming out of the carpets.
Making a link between black mould and illness isn't all that simple. Evidence suggests it causes CIRS or chronic inflammatory response syndrome, but there's not yet an accepted way to diagnose the illness. Dr. Charlie Ahn is undertaking new federally funded research that is seeking to fix that.
Simply, if you want to treat the patient properly, we have to diagnose the patient accurately.
His team will test samples of individuals exposed to black mould and compare them with mould samples from their homes. But while the scientists conduct their research, those renters impacted by black mould face another challenge. Australia's rental crisis means available properties are scarce, leaving vulnerable people in mouldy homes without the option to move.
When renters are contacting us, usually they've already contacted their landlord about mould once, twice, 3 times. We have renters reaching out to us after months of no action from landlords. Right now, a mould inquiry is taking out 1 of 10 of our inquiries, which is a huge amount.
Things are very different for Hannah and Darren in their new home, but their mental anguish may take longer to heal.
I just wanted them to say sorry. I just wanted them to acknowledge what they'd done to our family. I don't want their money. I just want them to do better next time.
The research is expected to take 3 years. Laura Mayers, ABC News.